All right, so we are going to go ahead and we're taking a look at our clock spring today. Clock spring is located underneath the whole steering assembly. You got to pull the horn, the airbag unit off the steering wheel, and we have right here a clock spring assembly purchased from the Wish app, direct from China. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the battery and we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, so we're a little bit messy and dirty here under the hood. If y'all don't have a pair of these, y'all should get them. My stepdad called them wizards. Stuff, keep them in your pocket, do everything. We're gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery cable here. Already loosened it a little bit. Get you disconnected. And we go ahead and start from there. Now let's go inside and get the clock spring taken care of. So here we are looking at the steering wheel. And we have a 10mm socket. Just goes in right here. Break that loose. There's one on the other side as well. Once you take these bolts out, your whole assembly will pop out. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that bolt and the one on the other side, and then I'll come back here once I'm inside and get that out. All right, so we have that bolt removed. It's stuck inside. Again, that bolt removed, still inside, and our assembly pops right out. So we'll be able to see, I gotta knock that bolt out, the other bolt's in there, and they go right in here into the side of the assembly. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna disconnect these pins. There's a black one and a yellow one. And then we're gonna go ahead and disconnect this pin. I need an extra hand for that. We'll disconnect those, but you'll see there's the black and the yellow, and they match black and yellow. So I'm gonna disconnect that, get my bolts out, and then we're gonna start working on the inside for the clock spring assembly. All right, so here we are looking at the inside of the steering wheel. We disconnected this white post by pushing up on it, and we did use a 13mm or 1/2 inch to go ahead and pull this, break this loose. Get this out, we're ready to pull the steering wheel. A lot of people do it a lot of different ways. You do want to make sure that you're marked. If you look right there in the center, you'll see there's that little dot right there and the one right there. Those are going to be lined up. You know, people have also, you see the factory marked it or someone marked it previously. We're going to go ahead and use a steering wheel puller. It comes with these, which go inside the square holes here. They go inside the square holes. They have this piece, which goes in, locks it in place. You crank down on that, and it pops the steering wheel off. I rented it from O'Reilly's for $55.70, and when I return it, I get my $55.70 back. So it's a free rental. All right, and I'll be back once I have the steering wheel pulled. Ingenuity is at its finest. I had to go ahead and increase the pull depth of the arms, so I used some brass hose adapters, fit perfectly on there, and now the steering wheel should just come off. We got our 1/2 inch, and we just basically crank it down as it pulls the wheel off. There we go. Steering wheel is loose. It is off. And I'll give you the next step here. The steering wheel is off. Now we have the unit assembly here to pull off. And there's a screw right here at the bottom, right through this hole. And there's another one up under on this side. We're going to go ahead and pull those, and I'll tell you what they are here in just a moment. The trim unit there around the steering column, as you can tell, there's the 1 bolt hole, 2 bolt holes, 3 bolt holes. They take a Torx bit, the small silver one goes there, the 2 long ones go up there. Once you have that removed, we actually have the assembly. The assembly here has a screw, a Torx screw to take out, and I'm not seeing any others. Okay, so we're going to pull that out, and then we should be able to take the steering units off. They'll be attached by a couple Torx screws as well. Once we have those taken off, we should be able to swap out the unit and put the new one in, and hopefully have no more dings. Not only this screw back here, but there's one right back here, right here where my finger is. And I used the Jeep hardtop removal tool and a bit to go ahead and get in there and get it loose. I think there's one more attaching somewhere. So I'm going to try to find that one. And we're going to slide her out. And we'll go so it is the one, the two. And then way down here, I was able to fit my screwdriver in the back and get the screw that's in there. So now the whole unit should come right out once you disconnect some wires. So I'll be right back and we'll take her out. Here we are. I disconnected that one while it was still attached. That freed it up a little bit so I can go ahead and disconnect these three. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull off the turn signals mounted on the new one, the turn signal and the wiper blades, and then we should be able to ready to reinstall. The garage. There is a Phillips screw right there, and another Phillips screw right there to disconnect the two turn signals, well, the turn signal and the wiper arm. Then we're going to go ahead, we're going to reconnect it to the new assembly and put it back in the same way we took it out, but in reverse. I want to take some time to show you this. There is, you see the little L hook. It goes into there. There's a channel. There's also a channel on the top side, and it just slides right back in. Same thing for this other side. Now you do have to have a little bit of slack there on your wires. I'm trying to do this one-handed. But once you get that in, you replace the screws and you're all set. Do not pull, from what I've read, we do not pull this out until we have everything installed. So I'll be right back here once I get that together, and we'll get back in the Jeep and we'll put it in. All right, so we are back together. I did tuck the wires here into the channel. You see how everything goes back together nice and smoothly. For the wiper and turn signal portion, there are channels right there where it goes into, slides in nice and smooth in that channel, as well as a channel on this side, channels on the other side. We basically put this in place. We see the hole lines up. We got to put the other two bolts in up top. We're going to go ahead and start there and start working in backwards order to put everything back together. All right, so we have all the pieces back together. We're about to take the steering wheel and put it in. I have left that yellow tab in. We're going to feed all these wires through the top of the steering wheel. Pull out the yellow tab, connect the white wire to it. Then we're going to go ahead and start connecting our connections back to our airbag horn assembly. Put her in. Still got to get that bolt out. I forgot about her. So we're going to get that bolt out right there, and then we're going to put it all back together. All right. And so here we are. We got everything back together properly. Horn works, cruise control works, everything seems to work. There we go. Volume on the radio. Everything seems to be working fine. As far as my menu. 18.7 miles per gallon. You gotta love that with 193,000 miles. So everything seems to be working all right. I will need to reprogram all my stations, but there we go. Pretty happy about that. Y'all have a great day.